So in this part, we're going to go for properties. One of the really important practical windows in Navisworks that we are going to work with. So by clicking on properties icon, actually you can open or close it. The shortcut of that is Shift plus F7. It will do exactly the same action. You can actually take it and move it or drag it wherever that you would like. You can set it in any part of the actually window that you have in your monitor, based on the places that Navisworks supports. I will just set it here. You can just change the forms in here for auto hide wherever you would like. You can just open it or not. You can close it. Let me pin it that it stays constant. So in this window, by default, you won't see any kind of items in here. The time you will be able to see the items that you click on a kind of element. You have to be careful in older versions. The properties, if you would select on two or more elements, actually you wouldn't be able to see any kind of items in here. Just by clicking on one actual item, you would be able to see the items. But in 2025 version, you will see every kind of number that you will select. You will be able to see every kind of items that you can see in order. You can switch among them. In older versions, actually, you have to install the plugin of Properties Plus that you will be able to see everything that you want. But in 2025, we have this ability in here. So by helping up the properties window, we are able to actually check different features for the 3D items or models or views that we import. We are able to have access to them whichever that you select. We have some different tabs in here. In every tabs, actually, here we have the information or parameters of the special for that part. You will be able to see them. They're displayed in here, and you can really get help from searching, for example, or quantification, or for example, everything else. You can use them in these tabs. All of them could be different based on your need. Every kind of element that you select, you will see the different information and things in here. And also select resolution, and here actually will be effective in the type of the parameter. For example, if I click on one element, and the information that you will see in these tabs, actually, they will be exactly the total information and the scale of that file. If you click on layer and you click on one element, the parameters that you will see in here, they will be related to just one layer or one level. If you click on object or first object, just the information will be related to exactly that element that has been selected. Let me just put it in here that you can see exactly how it is continuing. If you actually click on last unique in here, and if you click on that element, the parameters will be different exactly. Or if I go here for last object, for example, here, and I click on this object, you will see exactly the parameters are different in here. And based on the need that you will have, you can have access to these parameters. Or for example, the geometry, you will have the access to the geometry of that element, and you can see and check everything that you want by detail, of course. But really, the more practical thing is more resolution for first object in here. Let me just tell it to you that you can use everything that you want, but it is better. So after selecting the element and you will see the information, we can use this information for different goals in here. Of course, we have repeated that a lot before, especially for actually finding that we have taught it before, but in continuation of the teaching, we'll use it a lot. In this part, actually, as you can see above, we have some addresses in here that you can have access to the information or data that you have. For example, it tells you that you're using this actually file level category shape, and for example, this geometry in here. In order, they've been written in here, level by level. By clicking on them, you can just see them and exactly select the file. Directly in here, you can have access to layer, or directly you can have access to actually the level in here and till the end. This is really practical item. Here we have a custom actually in here. We'll talk about it in the future, but the settings in here, if you open it, we have single list. The single list, if it is selected, actually, they will be a kind of one table here that they are displayed in here. Usually it's really long, and actually the categorizations are like this. First, finding a kind of element, will take a little time, of course a lot of time, but if you just inactivate that, you will see the items separately. But I prefer really this one, it's better. The next one is auto zoom. So it's really interesting. I told you that in the properties window, Navisworks 2025, actually if you click on more than one item, still you will see different information, different data in here in properties, and you can have access to them. As an example, by pressing space, let me just select them. Auto zoom now is inactivated. So it tells you that 16 elements have been actually selected. By just clicking on next, you will see different things. Or for example, directly we can go to first or end by these two options. The point that we have in here actually is when I click on next and I go to the second item, I don't know which item we are exactly on. So auto zoom actually is really important and valuable for us. It's just enough that you click on it and you click on next, it will be zoomed in exactly on that element. You'll see everyone will be zoomed in here. So actually, let me just go back again here, or to zoom out. All of the model, of course not all of them. Some parts, for example, let me select them. For example, this one and this one. Some different parts. Yes, if you just pay attention, it's really important for us and very exact and complete. You can just go exactly in that location and you can check it. And actually, one of the valuable feature that we have in here actually is auto zoom. So the importance of the auto zoom is the time that more than one item is selected, and by clicking on it, you can just switch among them. So another choice that we have in here, it is actually breadcrumbs in here. So if you just, by default it is activated, it means that if you click on any kind of element that you can select, you can see the address of that element. If we don't want to have the address of that element, that we have a better and, for example, empty place here, we can just inactivate it. It's completely by your taste, that you can just choose whatever you want. So the next item that we have in here is sort categories in here. How you want to sort the items based on the category, for example, or not. So you have to be careful that, for example, this sort based on the category actually is based on the name. I mean, every kind of category in here will be based on the name, and it will be sorted by that. So another point is favorites. Of course, by default, they are not activated. Actually, in here, let me just inactivate them in here. So the first one is enable. If you click on it, you will see a kind of property favorites in here, a window, that it means each element that you select actually. Sometimes, of course, we will minimize this window. We don't need to have all of the information in here. It will actually give us a kind of complete and complete information for us, for example, maybe, or one or two information for us. So we will use this. It's similar to quick properties in here. Quick properties, if it is activated, actually, if I just keep the mouse cursor on that element, I don't mean that I click. Yes, by keeping on that, you will see the information that, for example, that you can see in here. So if I just inactivate it, and I will just keep the mouse cursor on it, then nothing will happen. So it will cause that directly. You will see that in a kind of window. Of course, if I just click on the setting that we have in here, so include quick properties activated, you will see exactly the same information will be in here, and they will be displayed to me. So they will be shown. So the next one is include current search actually properties. It means that actually if you're using the window related to find items that we've talked about before, that if you just have done, for example, 0 point for yourself, for example, in here, of course, we've done before some of them. If I click on this one, for example, the information related to this property will be displayed to me. But if I just inactivate include in here, for example, and each of the search properties will be selected, it will tell it to me that, for example, what kind of search properties I've done before in here. So it will be really helpful in many situations for me. It's really important that based on which parameter has happened or search has happened, for example, in here. So by next, you can just zoom on each one that you want. So let me return exactly to here. So I can inactivate this one. I don't need it. Let me zoom it out. Actually, the What kind of parameter will be displayed in a window of properties? It refers to the settings that, for example, we've done before related to quick properties in options actually in here. So you see that right now actually you will see that two elements, name actually and type, it's exactly showing us exactly the same tool. We can just click on plus and we will see actually element ID could be added into here so that it shows us the element ID in here, so it will be displayed. So I can just click on it again, and then I can go, for example, to this part. Let me just say element ID, and this one, for example, name, category name. We didn't have it in here, so like this. Let me click on OK, and I will see that, for example, this information is being displayed to me. So each one that you select, we have the element ID of that in here, category, and to the end. So the categorizations are completely clear in here. So whenever that we don't need it, we can just close it and nothing important will happen. Let me just return to the properties window in here. So this is the capabilities or abilities that we have in here.